Hi everyone. In this video, we are going to talk about another very important concept in Python, which is for loop. So let's dive right in. So let's say you have this list, which has all the days of the week, and we want to print it. So we know how to print it, right? So we'll say print days, and we'll reference Monday here by using index of Monday, which is 0. And now we want to do the same thing for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, run the same piece of code. So we'll probably just copy paste it and change the index here. Now, this is fine, right? This will do the job, but not very feasible, not very nice way of doing it. And that's where for loop come into picture. We use for loop when we want to run a same block or piece of code, but for different items. That's where you can use for loop. So let's try to display or print all these items one by one using for loop. So what is the syntax of for loop? For, and then you give a variable name. Variable name could be anything. In, and then you give the iterable, something that you can iterate over, colon, and then properly indented statements, line 1, line 2. So let's try to solve this problem with for loop now that we know the syntax of for loop. Variable name could be anything. I'm keeping it day, but you can give it any name that you like. And then the iterable is days, our list here. And what we want to run here is want to simply print each item of the days list. So print day. Let me run it. So what are we getting? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So what's going on here? So basically, we are iterating over each item of the days variable. Let's just go ahead and print days once again here, what we have in days. So in the first iteration, the day variable here holds the value Monday, and then we are printing Monday here. In the second iteration, the day variable holds the value Tuesday. We go ahead and print Tuesday, then the cursor goes back to the for loop. It reads the third item here, which is Wednesday, and so on and so forth. So that is how the for loop works. It will iterate over this piece of code or block of code till we have reached the end of our list here. So it's printing Monday till Friday. Now, let's try another one. Let's say we want to calculate factorial of a given number. So if you are given 5, let's say we want to calculate factorial of 5. The factorial of 5 is nothing but 5 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 1. Now, how can we do this using for loop? So let's say n is a variable. So let's say we want to calculate factorial of 7. So n is equal to 7. And what I want to do is I want to generate sequence of number from 1 till 7 because factorial of 7 would be 1 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 4, 5, 6 till 7. So how can I generate the sequence of numbers here? So for that, we have a function called as range. So I can say for I, this variable name could be anything in range 10. If I say 10, it will give me numbers from 0 to 9. Let's just check that once. Print I. So how does range work? You can see it is giving us numbers from 0 to 9. So how does range work? If you give just one input to the range, that is considered the end index, right? This is not included. So if you give 10, it will go on till 9. If you give two values, let's say I give 2 comma 10. So now I'm providing two values, two input. The first input is considered to be the start index. So now my sequence will start from 2 and it will go all the way up to 9. 10 is not included. If you don't provide any value, it will assume that the start index is 0. If you just provide one input to this range, that would be considered to be the end index and start index would be taken from 0. You can also provide the step size here. Let's say you want to move in the step of 2. So from 2, it will directly go to 4 because we're jumping here, right? We are going in the step of 2 here. So 2 to 4, 4 to 6, 6 to 8. So that is how range function works. So now let's say we want to calculate the factorial of 7. How we would do it? So we will say from for I in ray, and then we want to go. So 7 factorial would be 1. Okay, let's just put 7 here. So you can see what's going on. So 6 multiplied by 7. This is how the calculation happens. So that means we have to go all the way up to 7 here. To go up to 7, we have to put in 8 here, right? The end index should be 8. And the start index, we can make it 2, right? So 2 multiplied by 3, that's what we want. So this will give us 2 till 7. That's what we wanted, right? Now, all that we have to do is multiply these numbers in the loop. So we'll create a variable where we'll save the outputs, and I'm assigning it the value 1. And we are going to update this variable. So I'm going to say output is equal to output multiplied by I. So let's just calculate it. And in the end, once we are out of the for loop, so now I'm out of the for loop. How do we know that? Because the indentation, you should be looking at the indentation. For and print are in the same line. That means this print is outside of the for loop. And we are going to print, let's just say, the result is, and I'm going to print the output here. So we are getting 5040. Now what's going on here? So first time around, the value of I is 2, because range 2, comma 8 would be numbers from 2 till 7. So I will hold the value 2. We are multiplying the output with 2. Output was 1 initially, the previous value was 1. Multiplied by 2 is 2, and we are reassigning that to the output. So now output holds the value 2. Then second iteration, I will hold the next value in this iterable, which is 3. I is equal to 3. I is equal to 3. And the output here, let's just create a column for that. The output here would be 2 multiplied by 3, because that's the new value of the output. So 2 multiplied by 3. I is 3. So this will give us 6. Then the next value of I, in the third iteration, the value of I is 4. And the value of output is 6, right? This is output. So 6. 6 multiplied by I, which is 4, will give us 24. And so on and so forth. So we're basically doing this operation multiple times, and we are updating the value of the output here. So this is how you can use for loop. Now, for loop can be used for different iterables, different data types. So we have already seen that it works really well for our list data type. Let's quickly try it for tuple. So if we change this days to tuple here, and let's just apply the for loop for D in days, print D. Yeah, this worked. It also works for set data type. How do we define set? In curly brackets. This is a set. How do we know it? Because it's all the items are enclosed in curly brackets. Now, you know that we cannot use indexing. If you remember from our previous discussions, we cannot use indexing to access the item of the set. And at that point, I told you that when we discuss about looping in Python, then I'll tell you how we can access the items. So we can access the items of the set from within a loop. Now, how can you iterate over a dictionary? So let's say I have a dictionary here. Let's call it dict1. And maybe I have a colon 100, or let's just change it to some subject names. So English. The second is maybe maths, and you have science. So how do we iterate over each items of the dictionary? So there are certain functions like dict1 dot items. If you remember this function from our previous discussion, this basically gives you an object of this dict underscore item class. And if you iterate over it, so for items, again, the name of variable could be anything, colon, and then your block for block starts. So let's just go ahead and print item. So it gives you the tuple. The first item of the tuple is the key, and the second item is the value. Okay, so this is the output of the first iteration of this for loop, second iteration, and third iteration. Now, what if you just want to print the keys? So for that, we have keys function here. It will just give us the keys. The dict1 dot keys give us the keys, and we are just going ahead and printing each key one by one. And the last one that we have is the values. Values will give you the values 100, 200, and 200, 120. So this was a brief intro on for loops. I hope you enjoyed this session. I'll see you in the next one where we are going to talk about another way of looping in Python, which is while loop. So see you in the next one. Thank you for joining.